Most of us here have probably heard about how your handwriting reflects your personality. It can say a lot about you, depending on things like how you dot your I's and cross your T's. But in a world where handwritten letters are steadily being replaced by texting for long-distance communication, can the way you text also reveal something about your identity? For example, how old you are? Well, to answer this question, we need to take a sociolinguistic approach to texting, meaning we need to study the way people text and explain it based on social factors, such as age. This can be done by focusing specifically on differences in morphology, which is the study of how words are formed in a language. And to explore the morphology behind texting, we can conduct an experiment to find out how people text based on their age group. We decided to take a look at how people use two different types of word formations, since they are the most commonly used in texting. The first one being clipping, the process of reducing a word of more than one syllable to a shorter form.
For example, linguistics to ling.
And the second is acronym, creating a single word from the initial letters of other words.
For example, LOL and G2G.
In our experiment, we collected data for a younger age group, between the ages of 13 to 23, and an older age group, aged 48 to 58.
As we can see from the above screenshots, there are evident differences in the way one texts between the older age group and the younger age group. We gathered multiple samples of conversations for each group. For each individual, the number of times a word was clipped or coined into an acronym were observed, along with how many words there were in total. All the data was then calculated to an average for each group.
Results of our study showed that 14% of the text sent by adolescents contained clippings and acronyms, while only 6% of text sent by adults over 48 contained clippings and acronyms. This supports our hypothesis that clipping and acronym usage is more prevalent in the younger age group than the older age group. Clippings were found in both age groups. On the other hand, acronyms were rarely found in adult texts, but very common in adolescent texts. The difference in the prevalence of clippings and abbreviations between teens and adults may be explained by the social tendency of youth to use a more casual speech style compared to adults. Previous research in sociolinguistics has in fact found that younger speakers have a much greater tendency than adults to use more non-standard vocabulary, associated with more casual style of speech. This includes certain word formations like clippings and abbreviations. A recent study also found that the usage of acronyms in text messaging declines according to age. For example, it was found that LOL was used more commonly with younger individuals compared to adults. This suggests that these word forms are eventually outgrown. In summary, depending on the way one types a text message, you can predict what age group they belong in. Word clippings such as laboratory to simply lab and the common usage of acronyms can indicate an individual's age. This isn't to say that every individual between the ages of 13 to 23 use clippings or acronyms, nor that everyone between 48 to 58 years old doesn't use them. Our study shows a trend in morphological differences between the two age groups, but which isn't meant to generalize either age group. This brief study in sociolinguistics allows us to understand that social factors do in fact influence even the way we text, and that texting, which is becoming the most common method of communication, has indications of our own social identities.